I picked up this fabric sometime last year because it reminded me a lot of some 1930s and 1940s prints that I've seen, and I've had it paired with this specific pattern in my head the whole time, and I finally have gotten around to making it up recently. You guys are kind of jumping in toward the end of my sewing process, actually, because I didn't really plan this video in advance. So where we're at is mostly the finishing touches and the decoration decisions. I was really uncertain for honestly a number of days about which colors I wanted to pull from this print. Normally I would gravitate toward red because red and blue just pop so well next to each other, but once I held up like a nice golden yellow next to the fabric, I really fell in love and started playing around with ideas. I recently acquired some really fun golden yellow colored pom-pom trim, and I played around with that on the neckline for a while, and while I loved the color, I just couldn't quite get on board with the idea of pom-poms around the neckline of this specific dress. So then I toyed with lace for a while and thought it was really pretty, but was just missing the yellow. In the end, I decided to copy an idea that I saw in a picture of a 1940s sewing pattern. This was one of the design ideas on the front of the pattern, and they did little contrasting bows on either side of a sweetheart neckline and stitched bias tape in 2 or 3 rows along the bottom of the skirt and had little bows on each of those rows as well. I made my own bias tape so that it could match my sash perfectly, and I didn't make quite enough of it to do 3 rows of bias tape on the skirt, so I just did 2 and opted for 2 bows on one row and 1 bow on the other. I also ran out of gold-colored thread partway through, so I wound up having to use my blue thread and figure out a way of stitching the bias tape on rather invisibly. Which, honestly, probably in the end looks nicer than top stitching, it just took a lot longer. And just for fun, I whipped up some cute little make do and mend sort of bias tape earrings out of some scraps that I had. It was such a lovely day outside that I decided to pack myself a little picnic lunch and eat it out in the yard. I started with a cucumber sandwich, and nobody panic, I did not throw away those crusts that I cut off, I just cut them off for the fun of it for this picnic. And both for fun and stability, I thrust a toothpick into each one with a little cherry tomato on the end. Then I wrapped it in wax paper and tucked it inside my towel-lined basket. feel like picnics are one of my favorite things in the summer, and there's something that I always want to do more of, but I somehow never really get around to it. And I always feel like I have to have somebody else to go on a picnic with me in order to make it worth doing, but I think that that's really not the case. Sometimes it's just nice to do something for you because you enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, I love having picnics with friends and family, but if going on a picnic by myself allows me to have more picnics over the summer, I'm all for it. Thanks for joining me on this lovely afternoon, my friends. Wherever you are, I am wishing you a summer filled with your favorite things.